Tonight, we will be discussing the online and part-time graduate programs in applied biomedical engineering offered through the Whiting School of Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. We have a great panel for you this evening. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Marketing for the Whiting School of Engineering. With me tonight is Dr. Eileen Haas. Eileen is the chair of the Applied Biomedical Engineering program. She has been teaching for the program since its inception in 1993. She is also the director of Johns Hopkins undergraduate program in biomedical engineering. Eileen is an alum of the Whiting School of Engineering, having completed her Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, her PhD in Biomedical Engineering, and a postdoctoral fellowship, all at Johns Hopkins. She is here with us tonight to answer any of your questions about the program. Here with us also to answer questions tonight is Dr. Brock Wester. Brock is the Vice Chair of Applied Biomedical Engineering. He is also a member of the senior professional staff at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. He works as a project manager and section supervisor for the applied neuroscience area. He has worked in a number of areas related to brain-computer interfacing and prosthetics, including clinical study and design and evaluation, systems integration, software control and virtual environment development, and exploring new user interface and prosthetic control modalities. He teaches a number of courses for our program, including Independent Study 1 and 2. Brock holds a joint PhD in biomedical engineering from Georgia Tech and Emory University. Dr. Anil Maibate will be sharing with you information related to available courses and the program's optional mentored research project. Anil earned his PhD in physics from the University of Pune, India. Since then, he has explored multiple interdisciplinary areas of biomedical engineering, including intracardiac ECG-based markers of myocardial infarction. He completed a fellowship at Johns Hopkins Neuroengineering Laboratory, where his research included the development of biosignals-based markers of the nervous system injuries, such as injuries to the spinal cord and cardiac arrest-induced brain injury. He has been a member of our faculty and a lecturer for the past 4 years, 5 years now, and teaches a number of courses, including Principles of Medical Instrumentation and Devices, Principles of Medical Imaging, and Independent Study 1 and 2. Completing our panel this evening is John Krall. John is a student in the Applied Biomedical Engineering program. For tonight's presentation, we'll start off with an introduction to Johns Hopkins Engineering. Next, Neil will discuss with you our online and part-time degree programs in applied biomedical engineering. Then we'll review some helpful information on tuition and payment options, talk about next steps and important dates, and we'll end with a live question and answer section. If you have any questions at any point in the presentation, please type them into the questions tab on the control panel. If you're joining us via a cell phone or a tablet, simply select the question mark to answer the question section. We'll address all questions at the end of the presentation. So why study engineering at Johns Hopkins University? Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the nation's first research university. The School of Engineering opened its doors in 1913, and in 1915 it began offering part-time engineering coursework as night classes for technical workers. Since then, we've grown to offer more than 20 master's programs that can be completed part-time. 18 of these programs can be completed entirely online. Our programs are designed by people who thoroughly understand your industry. We like to say that our programs are for engineers by engineers. Our faculty are all expert and working engineers, and our faculty and instructional designers construct new and update existing coursework every year so that it includes the most up-to-date information. In addition to our part-time programs, the Whiting School of Engineering has over 25 research centers and institutes. This includes a strong partnership with the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. We also offer full-time bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs that are conducted in residence at our Homewood campus in Baltimore. Our online and part-time programs are led by respected senior engineers from our applied physics laboratory and faculty from our full-time programs. We are ranked in the top 20 best online graduate engineering programs by US News and World Report. And of all the schools that are included in these rankings, we have the largest online part-time student population. So not only will you have lots of fellow students going through a similar learning experience, but these rankings speak to the quality of our programs regardless of our size, and our school is experienced and well-equipped to help you navigate graduate education as an online student. The degree that you earn with us studying part-time or online is of the same quality as our full-time degree program, so your diploma will not say online or part-time. You are eligible and highly encouraged to participate in commencement, and as a graduate, you will be one of more than 28,000 Whiting School alumni and will join our esteemed international alumni community. So that is a little information on who we are and the value of our programs. Now I'm going to hand it over to Anil to talk to us a little bit about applied biomedical engineering. Anil?
Yes, thank you, Cheryl. And again, welcome to this info session on applied biomedical engineering, ABE in short. I'm Anil Maibhate, representing the faculty of ABE, and I would like to tell you a little bit about the program and later answer some of your questions. So let us spend some time on the program. Modern biomedical engineering is a diverse field with specialties ranging from robotics, neuroprosthetics, brain-computer interface, medical instrumentation, tissue engineering, imaging, micro, nanoelectronics, mathematical modeling, and of course, signal processing. The field has been projected to show enormous job growth through this decade and beyond. Opportunities are expanding rapidly across all these specialties. At AB, we aim to train you for these opportunities through rigorous coursework, as well as interactions and networking with our expert faculty. The ABE faculty comes from our BME department, Biomedical Engineering Department, which is ranked #1 in the country for many years now, from the renowned Applied Physics Laboratory, and also from a diverse range of topmost local and biomedical engineering industries. In our program, you can apply for a master's degree in BME or a postmaster certificate. Tonight, we'll mainly focus on the master's degree only. In our master's program, you will be able to choose one of the 3 focus areas: medical instrumentation, medical imaging, or translational tissue engineering. In our core and elective courses focusing on each of these, you will find opportunities to acquire fundamental skill sets, application-driven projects through homeworks, hands-on labs, and so on. Later in the session, we will talk about these hands-on labs a bit more. The eligibility for applying in our program is very simple. GRE is not required. However, you will need to hold a bachelor's degree or higher in a science or related engineering field, which can include previous undergraduate level courses in fields like math, physics, chemistry, biology, and/or any branch of engineering. Recently, we have had several students enroll in our program with medical degrees who have taken the required prerequisites prior to starting the program. We admit students with the GPA of 3.0 or higher, and we also have listed the prerequisites courseworks for admission into our program. So who are our students? Well, the average age of AB students is 29.4 years, and 73% live out of state. With that said, 100% of our students have taken online courses. Finally, 83% of AB students are employed, and we have listed a few employers here on the slide. Additionally, we are excited to share the latest news from summer 2018 onwards. All online and part-time students now have an access to the new program called Handshake. Handshake is the university's career management platform that features information on career-related events, websites, webinars, job postings, and career resources available to all AB students from the start. We encourage all AB students to take full advantage of this valuable resource. So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of the degree program. This is a 10-course degree that needs to be completed in maximum 5 years. Of the 10 total courses, 5 are required core courses, which include a laboratory course and a focus area course. The other 5 selected by the students are from a range of electives. Upon entering our program, you are assigned an advisor to help you design your personalized curriculum. That is to select an appropriate focus area and match your electives to your academic interests and your future goals. It is important to note here that you may also take electives from outside of the AB department or sometimes even outside Whiting School of Engineering. For example, if you are particularly interested in biostatistics, we might recommend a course in School of Public Health. You can take up to 2 courses from outside of the department. In exceptional cases, we have allowed also a third one. As a part of the electives, you may also do up to 2 semesters long mentored research project aligned with your focus area. This can be done either within the JHU system or elsewhere. We will talk briefly about that later in the session. As I mentioned, we have 3 focus areas for the AB program. They are medical instrumentation, medical imaging, and translational tissue engineering. Let's step through some of the examples of how you may complete the ABA program with these 3 different focus areas. A side note I should quickly add here is that one of us, Dr. Haas, Dr. Wester, and I, would serve as your personal advisors when you select the appropriate coursework. There are a number of pathways to reach our goal of 10 courses. As you see, the example here is one for a student interested in instrumentation as their focus area. The details of each course are accessible on the individual course homepages available from ep.jhu.edu. The next example pathway to graduation for our students interested in the imaging is shown in the next slide. These courses include the core courses, a focus area course for imaging, as well as some examples of electives. Finally, the final example pathway to graduation for students interested in translational tissue engineering is shown in the next slide. Again, this example pathway includes core courses, a focus area course, as well as many examples of electives relevant to that area. Beyond the ABE courses, let me quickly display some of the courses available for you from the wider JHU system. For example, the BME department or the School of Medicine. Most of these are face-to-face courses, although some of them have now moved online. I should also mention here that based on your incoming coursework, you might be able to place out some of the core requirements. However, this would not reduce your total degree requirement of 10 courses. You would work with your advisor to replace the opted out courses with more advanced or supplemental coursework in your focus area. And the last but important point to emphasize here, a minimum of 4 courses out of your total 10 are required to be at the 700 plus level to fulfill your degree requirements. So now let's dig a little deeper into the core requirements for the 5 courses. Here are the first 4 courses required for the master's degree. Regardless of the focus area, all students must complete these 4 courses. 2 courses in physiology. These are your fundamental human body courses covering functions of the organ systems with quantitative analysis, etc. 1 course in applied maths that includes ordinary differential equations, partial differential equations, and basic calculus, complex analysis, and so on. That is relevant to biomedical engineering. And the 4th required course is a hybrid online on-site lab course that operates over 2 separate 3-day weekends in the summer, each preceded by a period of 3 weeks with online preparatory learning. This is where you gain a lot of hands-on practice I was talking about earlier. This is not your only opportunity to take a lab course, but it is the only required lab course for the degree. I will talk a little more about this later. The 5th and the final required course depends on your focus area. As you can see on this slide, if you are in the imaging focus area, you take the foundational course in medical imaging, for example, principles of medical imaging. If you are in the instrumentation focus area, you will pick a course on instrumentation and devices, and so on. You get the idea. Now I will discuss our unique hybrid course, the lab course, which I mentioned earlier. Formally, it is known as the Biomedical Engineering Practices and Innovation. We are highlighting this course for you here because it is something that really sets our program apart from others. We have been in the process of moving many of our courses online to accommodate working professionals and family life for students coming from all around the country and sometimes even outside. In addition to these online courses, this lab component offers our students a hands-on experience in a condensed course during the summer. In this 10-week summer course, students conduct experiments across the three main focus areas in AB: physiology, instrumentation, and tissue engineering. The labs are grouped so as to give you the best opportunity to learn. So, for example, a physiology lab using frogs is used to investigate the Starling relationship in cardiac mechanics, and this will be paired with an instrumentation lab where students build and implement a basic EKG monitor and even record their own EKG with it. In another lab, students interact with the robotic prosthetic hand brought in from APL and learn about brain-computer interfaces. Additionally, as a part of this unique course, our students are exposed to exemplary clinical faculty with a workshop at Hopkins Hospital and a tour of the world-class facilities for product translation, along with a panel discussion with biotech entrepreneurs. The calendar structure for our residency course, the BEPI course, is very simple. There are two separate 3-day weekends over the summer with face-to-face portions at the Homewood campus in our labs at Hopkins and downtown at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. Both of these 3-day lab weekends are preceded by 3 weeks each of online preparatory phase to prep you for the lab. So you prepare online for 3 weeks, come over to the Homewood campus for a weekend from Friday to Sunday, and then repeat this once more, totaling a total of 8 weeks of intense lab experience. A week extra is then given for homework assignments, etc. Now I want to quickly highlight an opportunity for all AB students to complete a 1 or 2 semester long research project under the supervision of a scientist mentor of their own choice. Each of these semester long research period is equivalent to completing an 800 level course, each counting as one of the electives, with each being equivalent to 3 credits. For these project courses, 585.800 and 585.801, students are required to work with both a research mentor and an ABE mentor, which is the administrative mentor. Typically, the research mentor will be someone that the student herself finds and will be from faculty members at Hopkins or related research institutions, or sometimes even from where the student herself comes from. The deliverable for each semester will be a final report, separate for the 2 semesters. For students doing 2 semesters long project, we also recommend that this be brought to an end with a potential publication after the project. For more information, I encourage you to explore the course homepage linked here at the bottom and/or contact me directly for any questions and clarifications. Note that although we recommend that interested students should enroll in these research level projects towards the end of their time in the program, we also recommend that they should start thinking about this much earlier. For example, after completing the core required courses. As an exceptionally successful example of such a project, let me highlight this one by one of our past students, Matt Sheffer. Matt Sheffer's project for redesigning the Ebola protection suit. This project was successful to the level of obtaining some seed funding from US government under the USAID program. It also attracted a lot of press coverage. You can find out about it by simply Googling JHU Ebola suit. In this project, along with a team, Matt was a part of a bigger team that redesigned the personal protective gear for healthcare workers in the Ebola setting. Matt's specific focus was on designing a cooling system which would be integrated into the gear that the healthcare workers wear. Cooling is a major issue for these workers, impacting how long they can care for the patients. Matt spent a whole semester working hand in hand with graduate students, fellows, local engineers at APL with this project. The team now looks forward to seeing their efforts move on to the next phase with preclinical testing. So this was about a very successful recent example of a student's research project within the ABE program. Other students have recently participated in similar projects and have had opportunities to even file sometimes provisional patents, utilizing the openly available resources and guidance from the tech transfer personnel at GHU. You will also have a chance to explore all these opportunities. There are many pathways to success in the Hopkins ABE program. We have some on-site courses that run evening weekend classes at APL in Colombia, but more importantly, a growing number of rigorous online courses with some running real-time virtual classes. Now I want to highlight some of these courses that we have recently added or will be adding in the near future. As for the ones we recently added, I would like to mention a multi-instructor course in brain-computer interface that we offer every summer. Another multi-instructor course in Frontiers in Neuroengineering that covers some active research topics in that field. A spring course dedicated fully to online MR imaging, or my own course on advanced signal processing. Beyond these, there are many courses in ABE that are moving online and should be readily accessible to working professionals, giving them a complete flexibility in terms of work-study balance. Here are some examples of courses that are moving online from the next year. We are also planning some very exciting new online courses relevant to a modern biomedical engineer. A list is displayed here for you to all these new courses should be up and running in the next 2 or 3 semesters. Again, I strongly recommend you to take a look at these course homepages, link at ep.jhu.edu. And now, as you know, we have a student on this panel waiting to interact with you and briefly providing you with some insight from a student's perspective. John Kral has been with us for at least a couple of semesters now, and I would love to hand it over to him now.
Thanks, Dr. Maibate, and hi, everyone. I'm excited to get a chance to talk to all of you and share a little bit about my experience with the program. So I started about 1.5 years ago, and so far I've completed the core courses, and I just finished up my first semester of an independent study, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But first, I'd like to give you a little bit of a background about myself. So I earned my undergrad degree in electrical engineering from Penn State in 2010. And since then, I've been working mainly in the energy industry. First, I worked on some new build nuclear plants in China. And then more recently, I've worked on upgrades to several power plants here in the US. I decided a few years ago that I'd like to branch out and try something new, because while the work in the industry I was working in, it was steady, but I felt that the area was sort of stagnant and it just didn't have much new, interesting development happening. On the other hand, I've been excited about the work being done in the biomedical industry for a long time. And so I decided to try and make the switch. Well, I found that was a lot easier said than done. My company at the time, in fact, had a biomedical division, but even with the backing of executives from the company, I couldn't find a manager in that division who was willing to take me on for one of their projects, in part because of my lack of directly related experience. So I found that I was sort of stuck in a niche. I couldn't work in a new field without having first having experience in that field. And of course, I couldn't get experience without first working in that field. So when I was looking for options is when I found this program. And I knew it would be a good fit for me because I could continue working because, you know, got to pay the bills. But I could also work on attaining the skills and experience I needed to make the transition to biomedical. But I remember before I started, I did have a few concerns about taking a part-time online program since I wasn't sure how it would compare to the full-time program. So I had questions like, are the classes rigorous? How do the faculty and instructors compare to a full-time program? How do employers see the degree? And I'll address a few of those. So first off, I'll say that the courses I've taken so far have been rigorous engineering courses. In my experience, you can expect to spend about 10 to 20 hours a week per class. So if you're going to continue working while doing the program, I would say you shouldn't expect to take any more than 2 classes a semester. I've known people who have taken more than that, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. It's just, that's a huge course load with these courses. But you should, but you definitely get back what you put into these classes. The instructors have been top-notch in my opinion. As said earlier, that they are all either faculty at Hopkins or longtime industry professionals at APL. My classmates in the courses have also been top-notch. Many of them are working biomedical researchers, doctors, FDA reviewers, and a lot of personnel from APL also take these courses. Interacting with them has been a great experience because they all bring their unique perspectives from the years of experience that they have from working in their respective fields. I found one of the main benefits of the program is getting access to the Hopkins community. The faculty really do try their best to get you involved. When I first expressed interest in doing an independent study, they did a great job introducing me to faculty and staff at Hopkins and APL, and I was able to choose the research mentor and project that was the best fit for what I was interested in. I ended up working with Dr. Wester and a colleague of his at APL on a project that applies deep neural networks to controlling advanced prosthetic limbs. And since I live in Baltimore, I was able to work on site at APL, where I was able to sort of pick the brains of several other researchers there who work in machine learning and similar areas. And I'll be continuing the project this summer with a PhD student who's doing similar work at the Homewood campus. So overall, I'm really happy with the resources and opportunities provided by the program and the ability to become part of the Hopkins community. I'm looking forward to continuing the program and hopefully getting a chance to meet some of you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Now we'd like to share some information to help you take this next step. Some of the most common questions that our admissions team gets from prospective students is, what is the tuition and what resources are available to help me pay? So here it is. Our tuition is currently $4,250 per course. Our courses are 3 credits each, so this is the total tuition cost for each 3-credit course. Because our tuition increases every year due to inflation, we encourage students to budget $45,000 total for their degree. This may exclude books and materials, but in addition to tuition, you are not paying any fees. So there is no regular technology fee for our online and part-time students. We do not charge our online and part-time students a student union fee, for example. We do not charge an application fee to submit an application for any of our online and part-time programs. The only fee that our students pay is a fee at the end of their course of study with us, known as a graduate's fee. You have a variety of financing options available to you depending on your personal circumstance. I really encourage you to investigate and to take advantage of any education benefits that your employer may offer. We unfortunately do not have any scholarships available for our online and part-time graduate students, but there are other associations and organizations that do. For example, the National Consortium for Graduate Degrees for Minorities in Engineering, otherwise known as the National GEM Consortium, right here, offers fellowship programs. Rules, requirements, and application instructions can be found on GEM's website. The application for these fellowship programs is open from July 1st to November the 13th. If you are a U.S. citizen or a qualifying U.S. resident, you may be eligible to use financial aid. The financial aid that is available for graduate students is largely unsubsidized loans. So similar to that, you can, of course, finance your education through a personal loan. And if you are active duty or retired military and you have veterans benefits, you can, of course, utilize these to finance your education. We do have a number of active duty and retired military enrolled in our online and part-time programs. If you're planning on using veterans benefits to finance your education, here are some things to keep in mind. The URL that you see here on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/veterans, has some great information on what forms you need to complete and submit in order to utilize veterans benefits at Johns Hopkins. For students using Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs sets an annual cap on tuition for private schools. That cap is $23,671.94, and that is for an entire academic school year. So it includes the fall, spring, and summer semesters, and it renews every fall. So we just spoke about the cost of coursework, of tuition. 5 courses will be underneath this tuition cap. The cost for 5 courses is $21,250. 6 courses, however, will exceed the tuition cap. That cost is $25,500. Johns Hopkins is a yellow ribbon school. How yellow ribbon works at Johns Hopkins is that it is applied once the tuition cap has been exceeded. And if it is exceeded, qualifying students can receive $1,000 per year, and it's awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. Coming this fall, there are some changes regarding how the VA will be calculating the housing allowance for Chapter 33 recipients. BAH, your basic housing allowance, will be calculated using the zip code for your on-site classes, i.e. the physical location of the classroom utilized. We're also happy to announce that Hopkins offers various networking opportunities for our veteran students. Current students, there is an online networking group via LinkedIn. Simply search the Johns Hopkins University Veterans Connection group, or just Johns Hopkins Veterans Connection, and you should be able to locate that. Alumni, the group, there's a networking group offered through our Alumni Affinity office. You can visit alumni.jhu.edu to learn more information. Students who were educated outside of the U.S. do have some additional admissions requirements. They are that they have to submit an international credit evaluation of any credit earned at non-U.S. institutions. We prefer that they go through WES. That's a third-party credit evaluation service in order to get this credit evaluation. They also must provide proof of English proficiency via, for example, qualifying scores on a TOEFL exam. Unfortunately, international students studying on an F1 visa are no longer eligible to enroll in our online and part-time graduate programs, as our registrar's office can no longer issue these students an I-20. The I-20 is the form necessary to maintain an F1 student visa. It confirms the location of a student's classes and that the student is indeed taking an in-person class at the university. Since we are migrating more and more of our coursework online, we are not confident that we have really enough on-site courses for these students to meet this residency requirement. And so we are unable, unfortunately, to issue the Form I-20. International students, however, are permitted to study online from their home country. Next steps and important dates. If you are interested in studying with us, your first step is to submit your application for admissions. You can do that by visiting the URL that you see on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/apply. The next step is to submit your academic transcript and your professional resume. We offer rolling admissions for our online and part-time programs. Typically, it takes us 4 to 6 weeks from the time that we receive an applicant's full application. So that's your online application and your academic transcripts and your professional resume. 4 to 6 weeks to review that package and then issue the applicant a decision letter. So with that timeline in mind, here are some important dates. As you can see, the summer semester actually begins on Monday. So it's a little late to be considered for the fall semester. However, the summer semester. However, the fall semester is just around the corner. Fall registration opens on July the 5th, and the fall semester begins on August the 27th. So still lots of time to be considered for the fall. I do encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible, ideally by June 15th for consideration to start in the fall semester. So that is the end of the prepared portion of our presentation. Now we'd like to open it back up to answer some of the questions that have come in during our presentation. Is the, what I'm guessing, tuition the same amount for international students? Do you pay the lump sum at the end? Okay, so two questions, two great questions. One, is the tuition the same? Yes, the tuition is the same regardless of who you are. If you're in-state, out-of-state, international student, it's the same tuition, $4,250 a course. Do you pay the lump sum at the end? I think that we actually prefer that you pay it at the beginning. And that there is a deadline to pay, and we don't offer a payment plan. So if you do need to pay in installments, I think that the recommendation is you pay with like a credit card or something like that, and then pay it off that way. There is, I believe there is a way to kind of, team, do you know anything else regarding this particular matter? Before I continue to kind of muddle through it.
No, I mean, not about the payments, no.
Okay, all right.
You pay as you go. So for every course that you take, it isn't structured like an undergraduate program or a full-time master's program where you pay per year. It's really pay per class, as far as I understand.
I think from my experience, the way it works is in your account as a student, you will see an invoice, something like that, and then there is every time there is a enrollment from you, they will show some amount that is due from you, and then you have to pay within certain days. That's what happens, at least at some of the courses that I take from some other institutions in Hopkins. So.
Exactly. And I do believe that payment deadline is normally at the beginning of the coursework. If that payment is not received by that particular deadline, there is a late charge added to the account. So great question. Next question, is the independent research class required for graduation?
Okay, so this is a good one for me. No, it is not required. Independent research class is something that is completely an option for you. It's not a must for your requirement. It is an 800 level course. Not everybody takes it. It is typically completed by students who are interested in going forward and doing some research in their future. For example, applying to PhDs or med schools. I hope that addresses that question. But there are some few earlier questions that I might want to comment, if you don't mind, Cheryl.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, so Brock has been great to answer some of the questions here. So I could add maybe 1 or 2 points in that. So can these courses flowcharts be available online? So we will make this recording of the video available to all of you later. you can go through that. And if you are interested, you can we can share these flowcharts with you, as Brock has pointed out. But these are just examples. So we can work out, when you enter the program, we will work out your specific experience. So they are just examples. Yeah, go ahead, sorry. There is one question from somebody that I promised that I'll talk a little bit later. Okay. Do any current staff of Hopkins partake in this program, and does Hopkins generally have a tuition remission program for its employees? So the answer to both these questions is yes. Some of our students have been Hopkins employees themselves, staff and other research scientists, scientist staff. From some other field, for example, people who are working in chemistry and want to get into biomedical engineering. And Hopkins has a tuition remission program, which is available to you. If you are a Hopkins employee, you can look at the benefits website.
This is also true of APL employees, and that APL will cover tuition at for a certain amount per year, which I believe would cover somewhere around 3 to 4 courses maybe per year, and then the next year the dollar amounts renew. But it's similar. It's structured differently, but they cover the courses. And there are a number of companies in industry that have similar programs for their employees.
Oh, thank you, Brock. Then there is a question about a minimum number of classes that have to, is there a minimum number of classes that have to be taken every year? The short answer is no, although we have an upper limit to the time that you can spend in the program. So, but it's very long. So for example, the maximum, as I said earlier, the maximum time given to you for completion of the program is 5 years. And that's more than enough to complete. Even if you take like one course at a time, it takes 3 years and 1 semester more for completing 10 courses. So you have ample time for completion of the program. Yes, you can sometimes take a break. You don't have to take a class every semester, but the maximum time again is from your first enrollment. It has to be within 5 years.
All right.
So the next course asked about the residency program that we talked about. This is the practicum or the summer course, which involves 2 weekends where students come to JHU campus and take part in interactive lab activities that span the various focus areas that our program covers. We feel that this program is really important to providing students a hands-on experience in the fields in this area, and it is a requirement for the program, but we feel it is a major positive, and all the feedback that we get from students suggests to us that it's a really important part of the program.
All right. Abigail Phipps has asked, how many of these courses can be used as credit for the PhD of biomedical engineering degree at Hopkins? I'm not sure you can, because you are getting a credit for these courses for master's degree. I'm not sure you can use them again to get credit towards your PhD. But this is something that Eileen could perhaps answer.
Hi. Some of our PhD students have a master's coming in, some don't. So what they're looking for in a PhD program is your entire background. Have you done research? Have you shown a desire to do research? That's part of what you would do to the PhD program. So I guess the answer would be it depends, and they're certainly not going to take 3 of your classes from your master's program and say, well, you don't have to take 3 in your PhD. It's more like, depending on what you get a PhD in, they'll come up with a number of courses that they feel you need to take.
All right,
Okay,
wonderful.
thanks. Looks like I could take one or two more. How does independent study coursework? How does independent study course work if you are from a different state in Maryland? Yeah, so we've had that case already. The way it works is basically you will find your own research mentor at a local institution. We will coordinate with him or her, and we will act as one of us will act as an administrative mentor, and they will act as a research mentor. Now, if they are ready to give you access to their lab and facilities, and then you are available to do research in their lab in a regular expected basis, then you can complete your study in that lab, and we will incorporate that as one of your courses. That's how it works. Some of our students have been from New York, New Jersey, and even other states who have completed independent studies recently.
So there are a couple questions related to prerequisites, and I think that they're both related to prerequisites for entrance into the program, but I'll cover both cases, those for the program and those for individual courses. So when you submit your application, we will review what academic courses that you've taken in the past and your professional experience, and make an assessment as to whether or not you need to take certain courses to fulfill the requirements for entrance into the program. And just for a few examples, in many cases, those who got degrees in engineering, say electrical engineering, computer engineering, mechanical engineering, and so on, they typically fulfill all the requirements for the math and signal processing courses, and in most cases probably just need to take a single course in molecular biology. For those on the science side, may have already taken courses in biochemistry and in some cases molecular biology, at which point they might need to actually take the required courses in signal processing, and in some cases in ordinary differential equations and some calculus. But we'll make that assessment based on your application, and then reach out to you and make it very clear what your requirements are for admission. In the case of individual courses, as you enroll in classes, there are folks in our academic office will review to make sure that you've got the required, have taken the required courses. And in many cases, you're actually directed to reach out to the instructors in advance of signing up to a course to make sure that you've fulfilled the requirements. These would be for the 700 level elective classes. And it's a quick discussion with the instructor if you don't meet the exact requirements as defined by the catalog. But it's very easily resolved and by a quick conversation.
Okay, thanks. One or two more, maybe?
Yeah.
Do we have time?
Yes, we have about 2 more minutes. So I think we have time for just a couple more questions.
One from Abigail Phipps again. How can I take some of the laboratory courses if I live out of state? So the way I talked about the laboratory course, the way they work is there is a phase where you prepare for them only online from wherever you are. And then for a weekend, you come to our lab Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and perform the laboratories, and then go back, prepare for 3 weeks again online, and then come back for another weekend. Most of the students basically take leave out of their work for only 2 days, the 2 Fridays. Other than that, there is not much needed personal presence from that. So it should be easy.
And then I think that we have one questions about the mathematical methods class.
Does mathematical methods for applied biomedical engineering need to be completed even if ordinary or partial differential equations was taken in undergrad? So this is a slightly tricky question in the sense, if you have completed undergrad long back, then we would perhaps recommend for you to take it again just to brush up your knowledge. If you have finished your undergrad recently and if you are confident that you can take these more advanced courses, then you can talk to us and show us what you have done in the undergrad, show us the details of the courses maybe, and then you can place out for some more advanced classes.
All right. All right, well, team, we are at time. It is 8 p.m. Eastern over here, and I just want to thank everyone again for your time this evening. Thank you for sharing a bit of your evening with us to learn more about this program. Thank you to our panel. Thank you all of you for joining us and for giving us all this great information.
Thank you. And if you have more questions, our emails are on the screen. You can note them down and we are happy to answer them.